I'm going to show you guys how I made my first ever pot of Diri Djon Djon. So I soaked some Djon Djon mushrooms for about 2 days. I wish I had another day to soak them. I feel like I didn't get all of the flavor out of the mushrooms. But hey, we were going to cook it regardless because I was fiending for some Djon Djon rice. So here I am squeezing the juices out of the remnants of the mushroom. And I actually did a double strain of the water just to pick up any bits that were left over so that it didn't go into the actual rice. After straining, I made my own complete seasoning from scratch because this recipe calls for complete seasoning, but there's a lot of salt in that seasoning. So I went ahead and made it from scratch just to eliminate that. I went ahead and started frying some epis. My epis recipe differs a little bit from the traditional Haitian epis recipe, but it's still going to work regardless. So I am spending some time here frying the epis before I add my sweet peas. Now, these sweet peas are frozen. They're not from the can. I just feel like frozen peas were a little fresher option than the can. And I'm sauteing this on medium heat. I went ahead and added some thyme and parsley into the saute. Now you can wrap the thyme and parsley in some twine just to alleviate yourself from picking out bits of thyme when the rice is done, but I didn't mind it. So I went ahead and just threw them all in just like that. But you have the option of wrapping it in twine, so it's a little easier to fish out once you're done sauteing everything. So here I am just mixing everything together, still on medium heat, making sure we're covering all of the ingredients so far in the oil before I went ahead and grabbed some Maggi. So I'm using a Maggi that as a Nigerian we use in our household, but the recipe actually calls for some Djon Djon Maggi, which is a bit different. It's darker in color. But this Maggi worked just fine for me. That was me adding the complete seasoning as well and mixing everything together. So here I'm adding Scotch bonnet. The recipe calls for 1, but I love heat, so I went ahead and added extra 1 for good luck. So here I am mixing everything together and scraping the bottom of the pot to get all of that flavor down there. You see the flavor on the spoon. And I went ahead and poured the Djon Djon water into the saute and mixed it up, as well as continue scraping the bottom of the pot just to make sure all of that flavor dissolves into that water. So I let it cook for a little bit on that medium heat just to boil a bit before adding some peppers. I wasn't able to record me washing the rice before putting it in, but I used some jasmine rice and I washed it till the water was clear before adding it into the pot. I let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes before it got to this level where you see like it's still wet, but you can see the rice. And then I covered it with some foil just to suffocate it and wrapped the foil around and shut it with the lid. And I'm just going to let it cook now for about 35 to 40 minutes just to let that flavor seep into the rice and let that rice cook down properly. After 35 minutes, our pot of Djon Djon was all ready, and here's the steam from that first reveal. So I like to fluff up the rice a little bit and just stir it around while the stove is still on. And I actually cooked this whole entire thing on a low heat. So those 35 minutes, the pot was at a low heat. So here I am just fluffing everything and just checking the texture of the rice, the consistency of the rice. Overall, I'm super proud of my first ever pot of Djon Djon. It was delicious. Please don't forget to share and save this if you want to try it. Until next time, guys. Later.